Episode 216. She was swept off her feet. What did he want to do? Take her to the hotel again. Exciting my ass! Miranda was about to go crazy. This guy was a rogue. A rogue. A rogue! However, he was a good actor, and had managed to deceive her parents as well. Full of embarrassing thoughts all day. Why don't you go die? Lila is like this now, after losing what wasn't hers in the first place. Shouldn't you have committed suicide already? You're an eyesore anyway! Miranda did not choose her words before she vented. Stephen heard her words and dangerously leaned closer to her. He pinched her face again. She clearly felt his anger. Her heartbeat was racing and she was a little scared. However, her pride and dignity did not allow her to bow her head. She was Miranda, the most effective assistant of Jake. Why should she be threatened by a nobody like Stephen Wrong? Staring back at him without hesitation, she tried to calm herself down. After looking at her for a long time, he said, "I know that the idea was yours. The hunter told me." What idea?" Miranda said, only to find that she was so scared by him that she was stuttering. She wished she could bite her tongue in half out of regret. "The plan of the house in Barton Hills. Jake made the plan and you altered it. Originally, Jake really wanted to leave me to those bodyguards. And you stopped him, right?" She heard that and she dodged his gaze. She said, "I only found you pathetic. After being blinded by that Lila, you got nothing in the end, and couldn't even get killed. That would be too miserable." "If the group of bodyguards really did that to me, then I would really have killed myself." He caressed her smooth chin and said calmly, "No man will allow himself to be treated like that. I cannot imagine what someone would do after going through that." Miranda shuddered at the thought of Stephen being left to the guards. "So, I can say that you have saved my life," he continued. Miranda's lips twitched, stating, "So, are you going to thank me by offering yourself?" "Yes, in the future, whether you admit it or not. I am yours." She saw that she had an advantage and immediately admonished, "Since you know that I'm your savior, you should let me go right away. Maybe I'd let you be my bodyguard or something if I'm in a good mood. You are not treating your savior right." He directly ignored her words and calmly said, "You gave me your first. Don't think I have forgotten." "So what? It was just sex. I don't care," Miranda said with contempt. "What you don't know is that was my first time too," he said. Miranda bristled. "Your first time? Just shut up. You are literally the most frivolous person I know. Who are you trying to fool?" Stephen smiled and looked at her with his amber eyes. Then he put on a distressed look. "If I knew you would deny it, I would have told you before. Do you even realize how pathetic I feel by you? You aren't acknowledging that you were my first. How terrible." Miranda said with contempt, "Listen, it's not like you have a hymen which was broken. Stop making such a big deal. I don't believe you." "I didn't expect you to be a good biology student." "I sure am. Let me go." "But how did your teacher teach you? Who said that there is no hymen for men? Or shall we go back to the old place to review the process of its breaking?" She was so annoyed that she wanted to kill him. This man, his skin was thicker than the wall, and his mouth was so bad that she was petrified with 2 or 3 sentences. And he had such a straight face. With him leaning in, she stopped struggling and asked, "You really don't want to let go?" "In fact, I can let go of you. But how about to a different place?" She was about to cry. She whispered, Please, could you take it down a notch? This is my hometown. There are too many people who know me. If people see us, how can I live here in the future? Stephen heard her words, looked down and nodded. That is also true. Miranda saw his look and immediately nodded. Look, I am such a beautiful girl who is like a delicate flower, and it is not right for me to hook up in public with such a tall and mighty guy as you. He deeply agreed, nodded and said thoughtfully, If you are seen doing that in public, when the word gets out, you won't be able to marry well in the future. She nodded harder. Look, we don't have the kind of population in your hometown or Austin. In such a small place, if the word gets out, would anyone still want me? It turned out to be like this. Yes! She thought that she finally persuaded him, and she almost burst into tears. So, mister, let me go, huh? Okay. Stephen finally released her. Miranda finally got her freedom. She rubbed her arm and saw that her hand was blue and purple. She couldn't help feeling sullen. Her first reaction was to run, but Stephen was not gullible. She was lifted up by him like a chicken. Ah! You said you'd let me go! Why are you doing this? I said yes to let go of you, but I did not say I would let you go. Miss Young here does not have a very good memory, right? Or do you have problems with hearing? He took her back calmly and put his big hand directly across her waist. Let's go. Move your hand! Miranda went to hit his hand. Stephen glanced at her. Let's change the position, then. Then he swept her off her feet. He was carrying her in his arms. She struggled hard and shouted, You are a rogue, you know, Stephen! Damn your family! I am your family, and you are welcome to treat me however. I will never resist. He carried her, although she was struggling and almost managed to get away several times. He was unwilling to let go, striding towards the crowd with her in his arms. This woman was arrogant, wild, and difficult to tame. After all, it was because he did not conquer her. What a kitten she was in front of Jake. Stephen knew that very well, and his eyes darkened when meeting her eyes. Soon he went out of the cobblestone road and arrived near the scenic spot. She became quiet and covered her face, for fear that others would see her. He smiled and said aloud, My darling Miranda, what are we having for dinner?